it's hard to hear when you're already in it. What I
Mm-hmm.
teach is if you could learn everything beforehand or be aware of things beforehand so that when you are in it, you can navigate it better. Two things I can say to someone who's really in the, you could be in the middle of a divorce, a death, any of those really hard things that we all go through is that you try to know that it's going to be okay because it always is. And in that moment, also just find gratitude in something because
Mm-hmm.
gratitude is the end all be all feeling of well being. And to know, and just to know that it's not the end of the world.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another call. So, our guest today is Elise Morgan. But before I tell you more details about her, I'm going to totally share that when I kind of stalked her in her Instagram and in her podcast and in her reels, it's that sassiness and real life attitude that I saw that I completely loved and I wanted to bring her on the show. And it's this personality exactly, and with her background, that she's totally dedicated to helping individuals break free from the limiting beliefs so that they can unlock their true potential through mindset coaching, through spiritual growth, and of course, personal transformation. Now, with Elise's experience as an IFBB pro athlete, which I still have to read because I mix up all the letters, as a former personal trainer and fitness model, I've asked her to join us today so that we can talk about how going from a disempowered state to being a freaking empowered woman. So, Elise, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Great. Thank you. That was a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. I'm so psyched to be here and appreciate
No, of course. And I'm so glad because it's true. Like, I saw your things and I stalked a couple of them and I'm like, yep, I want her on the show because it's that attitude, it's that personality. And honestly, it's one of the things, and we'll talk about that at some point. It's one of the things that makes you unique because
it.
everybody says the same thing in the same way and they try to spin it a different way. But it's like, you already saw this, you already heard this. But when I went through your things, I was like, oh, I like her. Let's see the next one. And let's see the next one. So tell everybody how a little bit is your story. You went from personal trainer to the bodybuilder to fitness model. How did you end up in this world that we live in of personal transformation and spirituality?
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you for saying what you just did because, even though we're in this business, if you want to call it business or our passion of helping others, you don't think anyone's watching sometimes. You don't think anyone's noticing. You don't think, and we don't do it to be noticed or anything like that. But thank you for that because we all have those days where like, no one, is anyone even listening to me? Does anybody even want when I'm, want to help them? So thank you for that. So what brought me to here? In a nutshell, it's emotional pain struggle,
Mm,
right? So for me, I mean, I don't know how far back you want me to go, but in the grand scheme of everything, I was not surrounded, and I go back to childhood too. Like no support, no voice, unseen, unheard. Go through life feeling like that, so you attract people that don't respect
mm-hmm.
you, don't treat you nicely, and you don't know any of this is going on. Obviously, as you're going through your life, you're just not happy or whatever. Um, and then, if you want to go from like the bodybuilding, so like that was a passion of mine. And as a kid, I was a chubby kid. And then I went on like a diet and lost weight and I got so much attention. So I think for
Mm-hmm.
me, it equated to value, right? And it is value. But I think at the time I equated to value. Plus I liked it. And it was just a passion of mine. It was one of those things where you could not stop me from doing it. I didn't have the goal of becoming a professional. I just did it. And I did it over the course of like a 20-year span because I'd stop, I would have kids, and kind of like run back to it. I always did well in a way without really being coached or helped. And then
Okay.
once I got a coach, I got helped. Then I got the pro card, the whole thing. But to bring me to here is two stories, and I'll tell them, and I'm very transparent about this. So my last competition was in 2018 here in Tampa, Florida, and I'm standing on stage, and I was just so like, I am done with this. I'm done because it was just the same people over and over. Everyone was so superficial. Everyone was beautiful on the outside. Like everybody has the perfect bodies, the guys too. Everyone's gorgeous, but no one, everyone was like empty on the inside. You didn't really
Hmm.
make good friends. There was no real, I don't want to say everybody, but majority
Right.
was just like ugly on the inside. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And even training was like people were coming to you to help them with their bodies and they didn't want to do the work. They wanted everything quickly. And I was sick of everyone's attitude, if you will. I mean, I'm not going
Mm-hmm.
to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I stepped away from all that because of that go to helping others, like helping others more grow from within going out. So be that beauty within instead of looking
Mm-hmm.
on your outside, because that's not what it's all about. Everything's from the inside out, no matter what your vessel, this humanist is our vessel here. Obviously, you want to be fit, you want to be healthy, but that's not where the beauty really comes from. So that's where it all started, that I didn't want to be around it anymore. But to be quite honest, what started me on the path to really helping others, because training is helping others, right? I was always in this, I never worked full time, but servicing, waitressing, a mom, what are you doing? You're serving, you're helping, you're taking care of. So I always had that in my nature. But I don't forgot what year it was. It was a while ago, maybe 2017. I was in between competing. I was meeting friends at a beach. I drove my jet ski there. Long story short, I got a DUI. And just a funny story is that I wasn't driving. So it was, I get, I went, it was a jet ski and I was sitting in my car trying to figure out how to get my jet ski out. I'm like jumping around. I shouldn't do this. Let me tell the story. So I realized that because I haven't drank in a while, I had like 2 drinks with my friends because of someone's birthday. It hit me really hard. So
Right.
I orchestrated a designated driver. We had a designated driver, like I used to work for Mothers Against Drunk Driving. I mean, when we were younger, everyone kind of drinks and drives a little bit, right? But you're an adult, whatever. I arranged for all that, but I had to get from one side of the ocean, if you will, the sound, to the other side. So my friend drove it across. But when we got, I can't believe I'm telling this on this, but when we got to the other side, I had to get my jet ski out of the water. So instinct was like, I'm not driving. I'm just getting my jet ski out of the water. So I was sitting in my car in the boat dock, trying to
Mm-hmm.
back up nice and slow to get the jet ski out. And I'm going to skip over a lot, but because I was in my car and it was running, I got a DWI.
Oh, wow.
That's not really why I'm telling this story. So upon getting the DWI, you have to do things when you get charged with that. Yeah, I have a breathalyzer in my car, and then I had to eventually go for like classes. And I don't have a drinking problem, but they don't care. You have to do these things. And when I went to these classes, most of the women there were addicted or have been addicted to drugs and alcohol. And I've already was on my spiritual path for myself, growing and evolving. And I started to take over the classes
Mm-hmm.
in this place that I had to go to,
Right.
teaching them meditation, teaching them journaling, teaching them how to love themselves, because the core of all of this is that you're not loving yourself when you're seeking and getting addicted to drugs and alcohol, because you're seeking relief from emotional pain that you're going through. And the only way
Mm-hmm.
to get out is to feel all this pain. So I started taking over of this class.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what dropped me into, because I never said like, oh, I don't want to be a personal trainer anymore. I think I'm going to be a life coach or a spiritual leader or a
Right.
leader or anything like that. Just
Right.
the universe served me this charge. I'm telling you, to put me in that situation with these women, because I never in my life had a problem with drugs or alcohol. So I wouldn't have got me there in that way. Right.
Right.
Got me there that way. And that propelled me to be like, wow, I want to do this. We're to the point where I was like, should I go back to school to be a social worker? I always hated school. I didn't want to do that. So I don't know. That's where
Yeah.
that's the extremely long answer to your question.
But it's the truth. And that's what I love about you.
Just try
But
to get
and
the background. Yes.
right. But that's what I want people to hear. And it's kind of what you and I were talking about, even pre coming on the call. Sometimes the universe gives us things not in a nice way.
And
Because again, you weren't literally drunk, driving, highway, this, that. But regardless of the situation, that was used to put you in a place that you were needed for your growth, to see that you can help them and for them to be able to receive that help, because I think, quote unquote, they had no choice. So it's kind of like it was a perfect setup on the universe. And that's the part that amazes me over and over and over. when we see what they say is the silver lining on what I say, when you look back, you're like, okay, that worked. That made sense. I
Mhm.
would have never figured it out that way. But when you're in it, that's not what it feels like. When you're in it, or when you get caught in it, like for example, the things that you have now in the car, the breathalyzer, the this, the, those are things that you don't want to deal with. But it's like, all right, fine, So that's kind of why I want, and I love the fact that you shared the story. So thank you, because sometimes so many of us go through crap, literally. But then it brings us to today's topic, which is we feel disempowered, both
Mhm.
men and women, but both you and I in our individual practices, we work mostly with women because it's our experience. I
Exactly.
can relate more to women than I can relate to what's going on in their head, in a guy's head, literally, literally.
Literally.
Um, but I think that's part of the thing. When all these crap happens, when all these situations fall on us, there gets a point that we feel disempowered because it's like one after the other, after the other, after the other. So how do you go about helping women that are in the muck of it right now?
It's hard for people that are in it, literally fighting the quicksand, to see the silver lining. And I'll back it up a little bit with that very story that I just gave you, that because I was already on that enlightened, empowered path, and I'm not saying, I don't have more growth to go. We all keep growing. I took that whole thing as everything was a silver lining. Everything was in
Okay.
gratitude. I mean, from being in a little rusted bus, I was going, well, thank God it's not this, or I'm so
Mm-hmm.
grateful that this isn't. I was always in gratitude and always knowing that it will be over soon. And what can I learn from this? But I was
Mm-hmm.
already on that path. So if I wasn't, and I was in that, I can't believe this, and you're in that spin off, I don't know if you're open to or ready to receive the words that I'm about to say now, because
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to hear when you're already in it. What I
Mm-hmm.
teach is, if you could learn everything beforehand, or be aware of things beforehand, so that when you are in it, you can navigate it better. So it's a catch-22 question for you. So it's almost like what I used to like teach people. I could teach people on parenting. Not that I'm saying I was the best parent, but I used to teach my kids there's consequences, just like laws in our society, and them. So it's here's the consequence if you do these things. So actually you are choosing them, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a beforehand type of teaching.
Mm-hmm.
They say don't punish your kid in the midst of it, because you're going to be like, no TV for 600 years.
Right. Right.
So this is the same thing. But if you're already in it, two things I can say to someone who's really you could be in the middle of a divorce, a death, any of those really hard things that we all go through, is that you try to know that it's going to be okay, because it always is. And in that moment, also just find gratitude in something, because
Mm-hmm.
gratitude is the end all be all feeling of well-being. And
Mm-hmm.
just to know that it's not the end of the world. Today it may be,
That's
but
what I was gonna say. It feels like it.
right, it feels like you will never be better. And it feels like all those things. And you want to allow yourself all your feelings. That's one thing in society. And we can go down a rabbit hole with that. A lot of times, the reason why people can't grow and evolve is because they don't even allow themselves to fully feel what they're feeling. So how would when you're feeling disempowered that deep, and you'd have no personal growth, education, or help, I don't know what I would say to them in that moment. It would be like, just know it's going to be okay. Just know it's
Mm-hmm.
no, it's not. No, it's not. It is. Whatever faith you have, whatever you believe in, do you believe in it now? Because that is faith, right? Faith is believing that you will always be okay. Whatever avenue you want to go down with it, how you choose it. So it's just,
Mm-hmm.
but someone who feels extremely not powerful can't feel powerful in a second. It's
Right.
almost impossible.
Right. And I love that you said that because, and everybody here on the show knows that I'm very open and authentic with my life because we use it as an example because we lived through it. So when I told you uh, a while ago before the call that I even went through it, not that long ago, this week.
Mhm.
Yes, I'm thankful that I have the tools and I have the resources and I have the knowledge that it's going to be okay. But I was still in it. I was in it for like 18 hours. I could have lasted 3 months, Like before, I could have lasted a year. And it's what you just said. You're not going to go through it overnight. It's not in a second. You don't go from this to this.
Impossible.
It's impossible. And if you do, it's because you're totally repressing and denying and numbing the crap out of it, which goes back to like everything else.
And I just thought of it for women because to give them an analogy is like I used to get really bad period cramps and migraines every time I got my period. So it wasn't like every time it happened, I was like, this is never ending. I'm going to be in this period cramps, migraine headache for the rest of my life. I just, you knew it sucked and you had to go through it. And you just, but you knew there was an end. And we might not be able to tell someone when their end is going to happen because it truly is. Certain things, are, you don't know, but you have to just know and have that. It's almost like you said, the silver lining, the glass is half full, like all those positive things, because you get to choose. This is one thing about teaching people to be powerful that they don't realize. You get to choose. And that's powerful. You get to choose how you show up. You get to choose if you want to let that bad day or that bad 18 hours be 18 months or 18 months. You get to choose. And when you really kind of step back and be like, holy shit, she's right. I get to choose and embody that. Then that in itself is powerful. I just got chills because I guess I need that shit for myself today. So
yeah. And actually, I was thinking back about what you said at the beginning when you were talking about your story. You said once you got a coach, you were talking about the bodybuilding. Once you got a coach, you excelled. And that's why we do the work that we do, or we offer our services to people, because when the person is in it, even me, I was in it for like 18 hours. Total confession. I have a talk show on YouTube. I listen to other talk shows on YouTube. I listen to other things. I turned on the TV that day to like calm down. Everything was spiritual. Everything was positive. And I was like, F you, not you, not like, I didn't want to hear it.
Right.
But again, I was able to get myself out of it eventually, but I let myself, which is another part, we could talk about it. So I did let myself feel what I needed to feel because I did need to go deep, and I went really deep to find what that seed was, what that issue was. So I did find it, and then I was able to work on it. But when somebody doesn't have the tools, when they don't know and they don't have the experience, what I want them to come out of this talk today is you're not alone, because a lot of people feel when they're going through the quicksand, when they're going through the problems, that it's them, that they're the losers, that they're the ones that life is happening to and everybody else is great. And it's a lie. It's just everybody else tries to manage it as well. And when they're feeling like that, you don't see them either. But having a coach, having somebody there, having a guide, having somebody that says, look, I've been there. I know what that is. I know you don't understand it. I know you don't want to believe me, but you're going to get through it. And I'm here. That's what we're here for, right?
Exactly. And it's not about being this perfect being, like you said before, it's not rainbows and butterflies. You get, you grow spiritually, and emotionally. We have the same roller coaster ride. It's just we have better navigation because we're more experienced and have more wisdom because we're just a little bit ahead of you. So it's really like, I always equate everything to the gym because that was so much part of my life, still a big part of my life. You could read all the books you want. You can watch all the videos you want, and you could be well versed in nutrition and everything and step into that gym and have a pretty damn good idea of what you're doing. But that will get you to here because no one has showed you that person, even if you're in a group and it's also individualized to you. So when you have a mentor or a coach within whatever you're seeking, many, I mean, we all have our coaches,
right.
Call it whatever you want. First of all, you get there a lot faster than you could on your own. That's with anything in life. Not that you can't get there on your own, but it'll save you a lot of time. And in some of the things that we experience emotionally, that could be years. We can actually save you years. So it's the same. Like that's why I make it equivalent to the gym. And also, like you said, my coaching was because I only had that much about competing. And then you have somebody that really knows what they're doing because that's all they do is help women achieve, great status on the stage. I didn't have that for myself. And also I want to, since you brought up the gym and that, we as humans, especially women, are our own worst therapist, coaches, friends to ourselves.
Oh yeah.
So you may be able to do it on your own, but you're probably not your best, your best person to ask for the most part. We've grown where we can ask, our souls wherever. And if you're listening, but I'm saying, like, I know for me, I work a lot on still being very critical of myself and being too hard on myself or expecting this, even with, nutrition plans. Sometimes I'll ask for guidance because I'm too hard on myself, or I'm not being, I would never expect a client to do that. So that's why we're here. You had asked me this before we went on air, and it's very telling for all of us, because there's many people who achieve something in their life, let's say fitness or personal experience, growth, spirituality, whatever it may be. And then they just go on with their life. They experience it and they live that way, and they go take their yoga and they go to their 9 to 5 or whatever they're going to do. And they are at peace and they're just living in their life. Right. But then there's us who have this mission or this download or this message from the universe that, no, we need to tell people about this and we need to help people. And that's like you and me, that we're like messengers for you. We are light workers for you, because that's why we want to, because we can't shut it off.
Yeah.
We're here to help people who are contending with something that they can't seem to shake on their own, or they need that evolution. Like they got here and they just need that. They want to go here and they just, it's like that.
Right.
That's, they got to that plateau and they just don't know how to go anymore.
Right. It's funny you said that, because not that long ago, I don't remember when, a few months ago, I had a client tell me something that was very similar. And she said, I've read the books, I've done this, but when I work with you, you help make it click. It's like, you're that, like, oh, I got it. She's like,
Yeah.
and I wasn't getting it before. She's like, you're not telling me anything new, but the way you said it, I'm like, oh, it's probably because I've like said it 3,000 times and I felt it 900 times, like, because that's the thing. And part of what I used to fight on, now I know that I don't, but part of what I used to fight on is, why do I have to go through all this shoot? And then you get a client and you're like, oh, that's what they're going through. I had to go through it so that I could help them. But it's kind of like, can we skip the lesson? But yeah, it doesn't work that way. But
No.
it's all development and growth for us as well, because I think part of the mission and part of the program that we even came on board with is, okay, my soul is also here for growth. And it's one heck of an experience to be able to say, it's not just my growth, and it's not coming from ego. It's literally coming from heart and saying, wow, I was able to tell somebody something and I saw the change in their face and their glow, and or in their business, or how it helped. And it's so gratifying, because it's not, for me, it's that butterfly effect, right? Because it's like, I was able to help this person, but this person's going to help all these different people. And that's amazing.
Well, what just popped in my mind when you said all that is, like, we are lights, and when you light up someone else and they light up someone else, it's the domino effect. And that feeling, like you said, when you help somebody, you can't even explain what you feel inside. Nothing to do with ego. Ego is more like, oh, I'm going to try and make money doing this stuff. Like, that's ego speaking or whatever. I don't even, that's a bad analogy, but this is about, we want to help the world, light up the world, and then the person one-on-one. And what I got from that too was that we're all energetic vibrational beings. And when you're reading in a book, and it is books have vibration or whatever, energy, maybe from the person that wrote it, whatever, the energy that you conjure up when you're reading it. But human to human, even if it's through Zoom, that human connection of that person relaying the message that you already know, or maybe they said it differently that day, or that particular, you have a coaching session with you every Tuesday, and that Tuesday you just were ready to hear it from you. So it's just, it's a beautiful thing. I think it's beautiful what we do for people, and people have to be open and ready to receive, obviously. But I think once they are, it's like a no-brainer.
Right. And speaking of that, so when you're working with women and you're empowering them, do you follow kind of like, because usually there's, everybody's story and background comes from a different place when they finally come to you. Do you use all of your physical knowledge, like the bodybuilding, the personal training? Do you include that in empowering the clients?
You mean the actual exercises or diets or nutritions or anything like?
Yeah, kind of.
No, I've stepped. I'm glad you brought this up because I have a new opportunity coming up, and I'm really excited about it. So I'll say it here.
Okay.
I didn't want to. For various reasons, I did not want to focus on that. One, because
Okay.
even though I never was a 9 to 5 or a 10 hour day worker, I I just lost interest in it. I didn't have the passion for it anymore, and
Okay.
I didn't want to focus on that, make it part of like what I want to teach now. So no. However, if someone said, like, I know you're a coach, can you help me with my food within, let's say, a women's circle? Of course, we could be like, okay, let's have a circle about that, whatever. But I have a new opportunity coming with a woman that I really admire. She helps women over 40 with menopause, and she has a whole program and coaching and everything. And she asked me to actually come into her program to help her clients like once a week or whatever with mindset and anything they throw at me. So yes, in a way, I am now
Okay.
back in. Personally, I'm more of I utilize that mindset that you would need in the gym
Okay.
with my coaching or how I can inspire people, but no, not literally like, okay, I can give training sessions or anything like that. It's not
No,
something I'd want right now.
right. No, and the reason I'm asking is because, oh God, 5, 6 years ago, I became a total gym rat. So my background is I've never been into athletic
Mhm.
things like at all. And maybe at 25, somebody invited me to go to a running thing for women. And I went for the hell of it. I've never run in my life. I went for the hell of it. I was like, I have nothing to do, whatever, fine. I actually liked it. So I
Yeah.
began running. So I became a runner, put it that way. Like, and then I became a runner, and then I would run outside. And I told you before, I used to live in South Florida. So it was the heat and the humidity. So I was like, I have to be out before the sun comes out because if not, I'm like gonna fry. And like the whole thing. When I moved to Texas, it was even hotter. But I
Mhm.
was like, I don't like the
Say that
gym.
again. Say that again, because everyone thinks Florida is the hottest.
Oh no, no. And the people in Texas are like, and it's so humid here. And I'm like, yeah, no, go to Florida because Florida's humid. Texas
Right.
has humidity, but Florida's humid. Texas is hot, like
Right.
hot, hot. So same thing. I used to like go out in the morning and run and blah blah blah. And my mom and my sister were like, let's go to the gym. And I was like, oh, I can't see myself in a gym. I'm used to the outside. I'm used to breathing. I'm used to, and I would do because it's honest. I would listen to podcasts and I would listen to like positive music and so it was like a time for me. If somebody would be
Right.
like, oh, I want to go with you, I'm like, no, it's my time. Like, you're not
Exactly.
going with me. So they're like, let's all go together and to the gym. I was like, double no, like, no. But then I was like, okay, fine. I'll go once a week with you guys. Long story short, I ended up going to the gym 6 days a week. I
Right.
loved it. Became a gym rat. For me, and I'm telling you this like because of your experience with the bodybuilding and everything else. And I know we're all different. I'm a wimp. And I know if somebody coaches me and will help me, I know I won't be a wimp and I know I'm not a wimp. But when I used to go to the gym and I used to do weights, I would do what I can. And if I was done at 12 reps, I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I did my weights. Like, I was like the total thing. But the reason I'm asking you now about the fitness and about the thing is because I know how good I felt when
Mhm.
I was going to the gym. And I see a lot of people and this is just my observation from experience and from what the work that we do. There's a lot of people that only work mindset. But we are a combination of everything. With the small things that I know, and then I know therapies and I do therapies like bioenergetics and all of these things because we do need to move the body and release things from the body. But even with just body movements and knowing what to do, I think that is such a crucial thing that so many people are kind of missing. And nobody's talking about it because one of my pet peeves is everybody's talking about spirituality, like, oh, it's what we said before, the pixie dust and you're
Mhm.
connected and you feel high and you feel like, oh, yay. And yes, you do. But we also live in a physical world where we have the vessel, like you called it.
Mhm.
We need to take care of it, not because of quote unquote health. Yes, we know that path, but because it freaking feels good, because it helps us. I mean,
I love that you brought that up because literally no, do I like say like I'm gonna go back to the gym, train people, whatever that. But yes, within my coaching, now I understand your question a little bit better. You have to have mind, body, and soul. If
Right.
you have one, let's give them all a number of 10 being the best. So if you have your mind at 10 and your body's at one, not
Mm-hmm.
going to be aligned. So yeah, and you're probably not even going to be a 10 at your mindset anyway if your body's at.
Mm-hmm.
And then your soul, when we say soul, that's your inner being, your inner, and I guess that is could be considered mindfulness, but mindfulness is different than your soul. So mind,
Right.
body, soul. So
Ah,
we are made to move. You have to move
look at both of us like.
you have to move your body, and the how you do that is up to you, obviously. I mean, as you get older, weight training helps I'm speaking for women and men too, but women especially. It helps with your bones. It helps. It's not about, you keep saying bodybuilder, I cringe because I was like more of like, it's called figure. So because
Oh, okay.
bodybuilders look like dudes, but it's the same thing. So it is a little bit of an extreme muscle look, not big.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go for that. I used to tell my clients, I'm like, you're not here. That's competition. That's hard. That's completely different
Mm-hmm.
way to go. Just moving your body, have resistant, I like to say resistant training because it doesn't have slap,
Okay.
right? You can even use your body as resistant training. So keeping your body strong and healthy, what you feed it. And I'm on a bad eating, right? I'm not perfect. I've actually got my mind and soul here and my body, my eating habits. So like you want to keep it in like a nice dance between the three. And you might not
Mm-hmm.
ever have it all exactly perfectly, but you want to have a dance. And it is so important. So yes, I do preach that, if you will, or teach that. Like you need
Okay.
to do something with your body. It's meant to move. And I think the stories we tell ourselves aren't even our own stories. Like, that's why I hate age. People ask for age, I'll say I'm ageless because does it matter? Because then you're gonna say, like, I know people, especially with social media now. I love it. You see all these people. There's a woman, I forgot her name. First of all, there's a woman, she's 73. She didn't start working out till she's 69 and wins all these bikini competitions. So if
Nice.
you said to somebody, I'm 69, they'd be like, oh, she's ready. She's probably retired and probably end of her life. And no, age is nothing. Your body physically can respond to training. You wouldn't believe it. So what I was getting at, there's another lady who's, I think, even older, and she was extremely overweight for her. And I believe she got like a health scare and she started weight training. And it's like, holy crap. So your body is just so important. And
Mm-hmm.
you get older, it becomes less and less for aesthetics. A lot of people work out
Mm-hmm.
for aesthetics. As you get older, it's more like, no, I want to be able to get up from a chair when I'm 80,
And not
be
hurt.
able to
Right.
walk, not even
Mm-hmm.
not hurt, be able to, because if you
That's true.
don't use your muscles, they atrophy. They're just going to
Mm-hmm.
happen. And if you're so atrophied, you won't be able to do anything. And I'm going back to my personal training days. I used to always give this example. A lot of I think I forgot what the percentage was back then. This is different, but the percentage of people in old age homes aren't there for any other reason. It's just they don't have the strength to take care of themselves anymore.
Really?
I'm not talking about dementia and all the other things, but
Right.
the strength to
Wow.
yourself up. So they did a study with, I believe, an 80-year-old man. And I don't, for those of you that don't know what they are, but they're called leg extensions. They had him do leg extensions and I think maybe hamstring curls to build up
Uh-huh.
his legs because he wasn't able to walk upstairs. And I guess he needed to, whatever it was. And within 4 weeks, he was able to do it on his own. And at 80 something years old, he built the muscle tissue. Your body does not forget that it can build stuff. So it is very important.
Did you hear that?
You're talking to yourself.
Yeah, to my legs. Did you hear that?
So
We'll
it
talk.
is. So it is very important and it is a big part of my life. And now I've hit this spot where I want to change it a little bit because
Mhm.
I think I'm not that I'm overtraining. I'm overtraining. I think for me, I think I need more downtime. I have to be a little bit, I have to just look at it differently. But for me, it's like brushing my teeth. I don't
Mhm.
comprehend how people can't go to the gym.
Mhm.
It's the same thing. I can't
And the
comprehend.
thing is, and the thing is, again, like we're talking about being empowered and all of that, that the physical exercise, even if we talk about it from like whatever science part of it, just oxygen. We're just giving our body even more oxygen. The brain has more oxygen. You think clear, you have more energy. There's so many things. And you're right. You're right in two senses. how do people just not go to the gym and take care of themselves? So I know how, because I said, I'm going to finish through Valeria's my daughter. I'm going to finish through her quinceañera because it was like a big hell of a party. I was changing gyms and I'll be back and look for a new gym. It's been 6 years.
Right.
So, and that's the thing. But again, it's what you just said. It's finding that balance and finding the balance, I think, of what's happening in our life at the moment, because there's times that maybe we notice that we need to take care of more this area than this one. But I think like the game of it is trying to keep it all more or less in harmony without overdoing it.
Right. Or underdoing it. Right. Instead of
Underdoing
like
it.
not going at all. And we can go, we'll get back to the spirituality and the empowerment, but we can go all over the place. But it's also society, and it's, we're lazy at our core in a sense, because we don't, that's how we evolved. We used to not be, obviously, when we had to gather food and walk around and look around, but we've become a lazy society. So it's just easier. I don't want to go to the gym sometimes. I can't, like, especially the gym we go to, I don't really like it. It's like, you have to like talk yourself into it. It's the same thing. You get to choose. So I say this in my regular coaching, but it's the same as in the gym. If you're complaining that much, then you're actually choosing what you don't like, because you can change it. So why are you choosing it? Why are you choosing not to go to the gym? Why, and it becomes the whole mindset thing and how you're talking to yourself. So that, I wanted to bring that up, but it's also because it's easier not to go. It's easier not to go. Then you don't have to go to get your shoes on. You got to figure out when you're going. You don't have to sweat. You don't have to, push yourself. I mean, come on. It's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would be in shape. So, but to get back to the power, how to feel empowered, even though it's not the kind of power I would want a woman to have, but if you start to like the way you look and feel strong, that can propel you to seek out to how to feel powerful in other ways of your life. They go hand in hand. I love teaching. When I first began coaching, I helped midlife divorcing women. And a lot of divorcing women are dealing with toxic humans, and they've been devalued their whole life, and they have zero power. They might be powerful with like, fuck that guy, I'm not going to be here anymore, but that's not powerful. That's just reaction.
Right.
So you'll be more, when you look or feel powerful, you may be more apt to like, I want to learn how to be powerful. And I love teaching powerful communication. You don't want to be like, or that passive aggressive or, whatever.
Right.
Like, speak up for yourself. I had to learn that. Speak up for yourself. You're not being demeaning and you're not doing anything. You feel you're powerful, and you're powerful enough to stick up for yourself. You just don't remember that you're powerful. So let's help you remember that. And literally, I used to say I should just put services out for writing text messages and emails or phone calls, because one of my expertise is to speak my mind with, or speak my truth, or speak what I want to convey most of the time, not all the time, without putting that person on the defensive. Because especially from navigating toxic, narcissistic people, you learn how to speak powerfully that kind of depowers them. That's in a narcissistic situation. I'm talking about powerful communication. You are able to speak what you want to say in a very non-confrontational way, and you are not responsible for how that person reacts or responds, especially if you're saying it in that way. I think I'll give you an example. Is you speak in the eye. I feel like you're blah, blah, blah. Not like you're doing this to me. That starts an argument. But there's nothing wrong with saying, I feel this way. Now, you can't help how that person's going to respond, but it's a powerful statement. Or I would love it if when I'm speaking, you put your phone down. I would really appreciate it. What's wrong with that? Not like, I'm on your phone. Every time you're on your phone, I'm talking to you. And you sound like you're powerful because you want to get your message across, but you're actually speaking from a depowered place. That's some of what I like to help women like speak powerfully, because so many women, especially even myself, and I'm laughing because my husband makes fun of the way I say especially, because I say especially. So especially.
And it's the way you say it, and that's fine.
Mine
is personality. I can't.
Yeah, I always say to them, it's the way I say it. He knows what I'm saying. I'm not doing a grammar spelling test here. Anyway, I know for me, you don't feel strong. You don't feel, you don't know, I shouldn't say that. I think I always had like a big, vibrant, powerful personality, but then you were taught, no, you're too bright. No, you don't know what you're talking about. Or no. You just constantly meet small and small and small, and then depowered to where like you're scared to say what you feel because you were probably gaslighted or told that that's not right or whatever it may be. And it's so common with women, especially in our age group. So it's like, just like what we spoke at the beginning of the show, it's like, I can't make you say, I feel this from the second you meet me.
Right.
It's, you have to learn. It's like, and I always do the analogy to the gym. You can't go in the gym one time, do one workout for, let's say, your legs. And now all of a sudden your legs are built up to the way you wanted them. It takes time, effort, and consistency. And the same thing, learning how to show up as a powerful woman. If you aren't before or don't feel it, it takes consistency, time, and a mentor or someone to guide you.
And I think that's the thing, because it's also, you can't come out and say it right away. You have to work your way up there. You have to get that confidence. You have to find your voice. You have to literally know what you're feeling before you're actually going to say, this is what I feel. Because my experience has been both from me living it and from me helping with people. When people would say, okay, but then what do you feel? You're not happy there. You're not, but what do you feel? I don't know. I felt so small. I'm talking about 20, 30 years ago. I felt so small. I'd rather stay quiet because I didn't even know what I felt. I just know that what I felt wasn't good. And when we talk and when we work with this, everybody's at a different level, right? Like if we're looking at a scale, disempowered can mean many different things for different scales. But for me, the grounding thing to everything is that self-confidence and self-love that we lost. And that's why we don't feel powerful. That's why we don't communicate, which is what we're helping them with. That's why we don't do all these things. But you're right. It's not so easy to say, okay, session 1, session 2, go say this. They're going to be like,
yeah. And
beep.
Exactly what you said. First and foremost, you have to, what are you feeling? And let's put some words to it. Let's put where are you feeling it in your body? Why are you feeling it? And that's tapping into becoming self-aware, because self-awareness is number one. And then you have to, from working, like if you're working with me, we're going to build you up, like building up your muscle to where now you're like, wow, I can say that, because you've embodied the confidence. You've embodied that powerful way about you to be able to speak like that. And it doesn't, guess what, everyone listening, guess where it comes from? Actually doing it. So like you get built up, right? You build up your muscle. I don't know, I'm giving like an example of muscle again, but like to do a feat, let's say something where you need strong legs. So now you can build up your muscle for, let's say, the 6 to 8 to 12 weeks, right? Or like even a show, you're building up your body to go to that show. You've never done a show before. So you know how to do it. You know what you've done, but like now you have to go step on the stage and you never did. So how do you get to know how to step on a stage? You got to do it. You've got to go on it. You don't know what the results are going to be. Same thing with this. Let's say you utilize this example, menopause brain, the example of speaking powerfully. So now you might get up to where you were working with someone like me. You build up your confidence and you know that you are worthy and deserving and you love yourself, because without those things, you can't feel powerful, right? But that first time you're going to say it, speak up for yourself, you're going to be nervous. You're going to be all these things, and it might not even go according to plan, but you still felt the feelings of that powerful confidence, self-love, and everything. And those 4 feelings, even I don't have them all the time. You can't, it's not something that you're gonna be like, oh, I got there, and it just stays. It's just, what I like to say is we get it back quicker. The bounce back to the laying on the floor and a little, you bounce back quicker because we've already been there. Same thing with anything, you already know it. So you just go back to it much quicker, but it takes time, but you also have to have the awareness and the desire. So you have to have the desire to improve, desire to become that powerful person. And I hate to say it, we said this, a lot of times that desire comes from extreme emotional or personal suffering to get you to
Mm-hmm.
that point where you just want to ask for help. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm creating this women's circle, and I it just reminded me of, and I'm not big on like blasting on other people's podcasts about it, but it just made me think of something how I wanted to say it to the audience. And we've spoke about this. I'm not a marketer. I don't know.
It's fine. I would have stopped you. Don't worry. Trust
I
me, I
don't
would
know
have
how to
stopped you.
talk to you women out there. I just want to help you. But I said something like, you want to be not just fine. Like if you ask women like, oh, I'm fine, I'm happy, I'm
Right.
fine.
Right.
Do you want to feel alive? And do you want to live your life powerfully, fun, exciting? And not to say that shit doesn't happen to you still, but are you desiring that? Where are you in your life? Are you living a mundane life, practice
Mm-hmm.
life? Are you living the life you want to live? Do you even know what that is? Do you even
Mm-hmm.
talk to yourself? Do you even ask yourself questions? Do you matter to you?
Yeah. It's funny because um one of my programs is called Orgasmically Happy.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good
And
one.
and precisely that's the thing. It's like 50% of the people look at me like, "Oh, orgasmic." And the other 50% of the people are like, "Ooh, tell me more." But that's the general idea.
Yeah.
Why can't we set ourselves up and understand that we are meant to live in that state? So what I usually teach is we're not talking about literal orgasms and sex and this and that. Yes, that could be it, but that's not what I'm talking about. And the fun thing is, the fun fact, I've had this show for like 3 years. Almost all of my episodes have been in English, although I am starting more the Spanish.
Nice.
But when I started it, I did one season in Spanish. I have like 10 of them at the moment in Spanish. I just haven't done more until I'm going to be doing them recently. Um, one of my speakers is a tantra teacher, and
I can't
she's
believe you're bringing up this subject. I'll tell
she's the
you.
one that said that she teaches her people how to just even touch your skin. She's like, just washing your plates. How many times have you noticed your skin and said, oh my God, that just feels amazing, and just live orgasmically? And I was like, oh my God. And that's where the whole idea started coming from. And I was like, I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And for those of you that don't know what Tantra is, I don't really know, I can't give you a definition. I just know what it is. But it's not about sexuality, it's about
Mm-mm.
sensuality.
Mm-hmm.
Sensuality, obviously, you can do it with others, but for your uh, program, it's more about sensuality of yourself and that
Mm-hmm.
live sensually, live. And believe me, I'm not living like this all the time. It's just about knowing it and knowing how to go back to that. And like you said, you're washing the dishes, like notice your hands. What if your hands were, I always say, like, in order to attract the love of your life, you have to be the love of your life to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you hold someone else's hand? Like hold your hand like that, like love
Right.
yourself that sensually. And that's a great, I love that topic for coaching because that's basically what it's all about. We're put on this earth or come into these bodies to learn real, true, unconditional love and joy, but from within,
And pleasure
pleasure, like all
and
the things,
fun.
but
And
not
but we're not
only,
taught that.
right. And not only, you're
Mm-hmm.
not supposed to skip over all that, we're here emotional, vibrational beings to feel all the emotions. So you can't skip over the ones that aren't joy and all that other stuff. But the utmost lessons are
Mm-hmm.
suffering. I don't think I'll use the word suffering, that each lesson is an ascension of yourself. So you actually, maybe not in the thick of it, but you actually welcome this upheaval or this uncomfortable, this struggle, all the crap that's thrown at you, at least afterwards, because it's like, wow, if I didn't go through all of that, I wouldn't be here. Right.
Right.
So it's kind of like being truly grateful for all the roads that led you to where you are right now, even if you don't love where you are right now. But it's
Right.
created, it's like, what do they say? The diamond, you constantly,
Mm-hmm.
rubbed and blasted and all these things,
Mm-hmm.
shine. Each time you shine more and more and more. And
Yeah.
you bring to you more and more and more when you're open to all of these levels of ourselves.
Right. And I know we're running out of time, but I want to wrap it up with saying it's like what we're talking about is also bringing up like my marketing mind. In marketing, which is psychology, basically,
Hmm.
one of the things that is taught and that it's said is people move more because of pain, and they take action because of pain, and they want the transformation because they're in pain,
Hmm.
versus the pleasure they'll hold off. So from a
Yeah.
marketing point of view, sometimes when you offer something and you word it in a way that talks to their pain, you're talking to their emotional so that they can react. But if
Right.
you're talking to them about pleasure, there's something in our minds that says pleasure can wait. And that's the part that I want to get to. Pleasure shouldn't have to wait.
Exactly.
Why have we become a society that psychologically I understand it? Like I get it because we live in a
Mhm.
society that has been shaped like this. But then doing the work that we do on this side, it's kind of like, why do we put pleasure on hold? And it's because we only need to focus on the pain. And then we focus on the pain and we forget that the pleasure even exists.
Right. Because you get stuck there in the pain.
Right.
And it's all, if people are open-minded to just hear this statement about this, about to say, and I'm assuming since this is your show, people are very open-minded, but you have been indoctrinated with the right word or the brainwash, whatever you want to say,
Right.
forget and to stay in pain. Because when you're in pain, you are not that you shouldn't feel pain. So let's back it up. We are supposed to feel emotional pain. You're supposed to feel it. You're not supposed to live there. But the way our society is created right now is they want you to live there because then you're more controlled and you can take
Right.
drugs and you just, oh, you're like, nah, nah, nah. You're not powerful like that. So
Mhm.
seek
Yeah.
pleasure. And we do seek it in the wrong ways, whether it be food and drugs and alcohol, because you want to feel that euphoria, but that euphoria
Mhm.
has to come from you.
Right.
And so thank you for
Right.
saying that.
Yeah, no, and thank you because it's true and it's different ways, and that's why I love having the show because I get to bring on people and have these conversations because we all get to say the same thing in a different way
Exactly.
because we all still need to hear it. We all still, all of us, including us, because we're human too.
Yeah.
It's like we could be on our high and on our best for whatever 333 days, and then we have a day that it's like I forgot everything I teach and I forgot because we're human and we're also going through it. But you're absolutely right. And those are many of the things that have us more disempowered within ourselves. And I talk about it on the show previous to yours. We touched on it a little bit. Women have been disempowered for centuries
Mhm.
and for thousands of years. And it's kind of like that's still in our culture as well. And that's why I think I focus more, besides the fact that I'm a woman and I can
Right.
relate and all these things. I think that's also one of the reasons that maybe I do the work that I do and I have had the experiences because I have had the mind to do the research to say, wow, this wasn't like this before. This is a society thing. So we have to change it from the cultural mindset. But how do we do that? Person by person.
Yeah, it's only you can only do it one person at a time, one moment at a time. And we want to help the world, but you can only do it really one person at a time. Or we could speak out and maybe that one person's hearing. We don't know. But that's what we're here for. And I know your time's running out, but you can go back to ancient times. Women were the wisdoms.
Mm-hmm.
The whole town, including the men, went to the
Mm-hmm.
for their knowledge and their wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
They're the elders and all the things. And I think that kept everyone in a great place. And through society, it was like, no, we don't want to. It just got pushed to the side because of how good it was or how
Mm-hmm.
we are who we are. Women are
Mm-hmm.
battle of the sexes here, and they're we are very different than men. Men and women,
Yeah.
the universe created us very differently for a reason, and we are the comfort, the knowledge, the wisdom. So I'm glad
Right.
that we're all bringing it kind of back into society. I think
Yeah.
women are trying to be too much like men nowadays, and
Mhm.
that's not the avenue.
For men or for women, because
Yeah,
then we're taking over responsibilities that belong to them, and then we're also not playing the harmony, which what we should be doing is bringing both into harmony. So yeah,
right.
that could actually be a good topic for another day.
Yeah, I love
Well,
that.
Elise, thank you for everything.
Thank
Thank
you
you so
so
much for
much.
joining us. Where can people find you? Where can they connect with you and get to know more about you, connect you, reach you, etc.?
The easiest would be Instagram, and it's called the Elise Morgan Experience. And that is also the same title of my podcast. Because then once you go there, you could navigate my bio to find other ways and all the things. So the Elise Morgan experience.
And you can go stalk her like I did.
Yeah. Please stalk me. Let me know what you think.
All right, everybody. Thank you. And thank you, Elise. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching until the end. My question to you is, what is the one thing that you have learned from today's video that you can apply exactly today? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and go catch our next video.